So welcome to our second lesson. So today, as we said in the previous lesson, we are going to start our first genre in literature, which is short story. So short story, we are going to define what a short story is. We are also going to see the features. We are also going to check out some elements of the short story, and we're going to have a quick example of what short story analysis is. So there, let's start with the first definition. We are saying short story refers to an inverted story which is shorter than a novel. So a novel is a bit longer than the short story. So a short story is just an inverted story. We said literature, we drew with imagination. So just like the literature is, a short story is also just invented. We just imagine something. So there, they are saying it can also be defined by a work of fiction. So fiction, something which is either just created or sometimes can be real. So that's non-fiction. So it focuses on one event. That's a short story. So a short story, a fiction or non-fiction story which typically focus on one event or fewer characters. So a short story is written by an author. So that is a person who writes a short story is known as an author. Now let's see the key features, the characteristics of the short story. So a short story can be identified by having limited number of characters. So it has fewer characters. The participants are very few in number. Since it is short, so it have very few characters. It covers single event, so it is only focusing on one thing. For example, education, so the story will just focus on a character doing this one for education. Those the key element number 2. So number 3, we're saying it is usually written in one chapter and complete. So a short story can be just based on one chapter, just a story, and it is complete. So it means it can be read within a very short time. So someone can just read for a very short time, and the reader can complete the story. Yes, so we're saying, as we said already, that a short story can be read in one place and within a short time. So those are the features, how we can identify the short story. So that is of being short, of whatever. Now let's see the elements. So this is the very important part, just because it is examinable. So someone can be asked on the exam about the elements. So we need to follow this part very seriously. Perhaps the part of the features cannot be asked in the exam, but this one is very important. But we are saying more description of the elements will be provided in the next lesson. So our next lesson will draw much on detailed descriptions of the elements, but for now let's see them in brief. The elements, let us just have a brief introduction to the elements of short story. So element number 1 is the plot. So plot refers to the sequence of related events in a short story. So plot, we are saying, refers to the related events. So we can able to follow the story starting from this point, and then it goes to this, the main part, the climax. We'll see those ones later, and how the story ending. So we have that sequence where the starting point to the ending point. So that's the plot. We also have the setting at the second element. So setting, we are referring to the location in time and place. So where and when is the story taking place. So that one is regarded as setting. So the actual place or time where the story is taking place. Another feature is the characters and the characterization. So when you say character, it refers to anything which is taking part, actually we should underline that word, which is taking part in a story. So if, for example, we have a story and animals are taking part, those ones will be characters. So if we have a story, trees are fighting with something, remember, literature is about creativity, imagination. So the trees can be characters. So as you can see there, we have a character can be a human being, an animal, or a non-living thing, as long as it is taking part. So we have another element, the conflict. So the conflict is the struggle of the opposing forces, the main issue in the story. So that's the conflict. So a conflict can be internal or external, whether the character is in struggle between herself, for example, guilty and the like. So we are going to see much on this one, on the conflict in the next lesson. We have also the point of view. So this one refers to the angle from which the narrator is telling the story. So the narrator is the one who is telling us the story. It's different from the author. The author is the one who have just written the story, but a narrator, the one telling us the story. So the point of view refers to the angle from which the narrator is standing. So as I said, we are going to see much about point of view in the next lesson, but we should take that one, that the point of view is about the narrator. Where is he standing? Is he in the story, or is just an overseer, an observer? So that's about point of view. We have again another element, themes. So themes, this one is the central idea, the main lesson, the central message in a story. So whenever a writer, an author wants to write a story, there is a particular lesson he wants to teach, or a particular idea he or she wants to communicate. So that idea is known as the theme. Now let's see how should we analyze a short story. So this one is also examinable. So the analysis of a short story, we need to identify these elements. So if you want to analyze a short story, identify the elements which we have just discussed. So identify them, know the setting, know the point of view, know the theme, know the characters. Then the analysis will start there. And again, we need to look deep into the events taking place in a story. So for us to analyze the story, look at the events, try to understand them, just because sometimes an author may create something with the aim of communicating a meaning in a story. So whenever we are analyzing the story, we need to look deep into the events taking place in the story. So let's see an example of the analysis. We want to see the example of a short story with a simple analysis. So we have this story in which the story we have the president riding the horse, the donkey, and moving to Mufasa's home, right? We have that story. And from this story, we can see that the setting of the story is rural. The story is set in a rural area, just because the reason is that in rural areas, a donkey perhaps may be used for the purpose of transport. So in urban areas, the transport is the cars, the jets, and the like. But in rural, we can use that one as a mode of transport. The characters in this story, we have three people taking part. So we have the president who rode the donkey, the son of the president who was flirting with Mufasa's daughter, and again we have Mufasa's daughter who submitted herself to the to Joseph, who is the the son of a president. And again, we have the theme, the main lesson, the main idea which is presented in this lesson is about the universality of love. So it's like love has no universals. So we have a rich son getting attracted to a poor village girl. So that's the universality of love. So as you said, this is just a very simple analysis of the story. But if you want to analyze the story, try to look at these elements. Try to find the elements. Try to find the characters. You may see that for us to find the setting of this story, we have just looked at the events. So we have just said if the donkey is being used as the mode of transport, probably that one should be a rural area. So basically that's all about the short story. So the short story, we have defined it as an invented story which is short, which focuses on a single event, which have fewer characters, and we have also said that a short story can be read in one place, can be read in a day. So we have seen the elements of a short story, such as we have seen the theme, characters, setting, point of view, and again we have also seen the conflict in this lesson. So our next lesson will be the detailed explanation of these elements. We shall see them one by one. How are they founded in this story? How can we get, for example, the setting? How can we identify the setting in a short story? So that will be our next lesson. So do this one. As we said, these elements are examinable, so make sure you shall be able to follow them, shall be able to understand them. If you have questions, drop them in the comment section. The questions will be answered. Thank you.